בטח רוקדת לך שם לה 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 לה
Hi everyone, my name is Eli and I want to thank you so much for being here tonight. Tonight, we gather as a community to support each other. We gather to honor those who have been killed, those who are still at war, and those who remain in captivity. When we were planning this event, we weren't sure what we wanted the theme to be. Not because we didn't know what to say, but because we had too much to say. For me and for everyone else here, the year since October 7th has felt like a decade. I still remember how it felt coming back to school last year after October 7th, how I could sit through an entire 2-hour lecture and not hear a word. How could I continue learning while they're still counting bodies? How can I sit in this air-conditioned building when there are hostages in tunnels and there are soldiers at war, when my friends are fighting? And yet, a full year later, I still feel exactly the same way. Walking to school yesterday, I had to pass through crowds of college students, most younger than I, chanting about globalizing the Intifada. And I had that same sick feeling in my throat, torn between wanting to act and worrying about my personal safety. I wondered for the millionth time if it's still worth fighting when the entire world seems to be against us. But if there is anything, one thing, that has given me strength, it's community. The Jewish people have never been closer than they are now. With ourselves, with our allies, we find ourselves coming together, and this is when we're strongest. If there's a theme tonight, let it be community. Our strength lies in our unity, and in our unity alone. Let us take this opportunity to reaffirm our values and to find hope in our collective strength. And in doing so, we can bless the memory of those we lost, pray for the safe return of the hostages, and ensure the safety of our soldiers. I'm pleased to call up our next speaker, Dean Joseph Landau, to say a few words.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Eli, for bringing us together, and thank you for inviting me to be here and to say a few things, and for those words that were very, very powerful and resonate very deeply with many of us. This day weighs very heavily on the hearts of many, particularly for those in the Jewish community, and for many of you who are here tonight who were personally affected. The lives of friends, the lives of loved ones, the lives of family members taken, harmed, or killed by horrific violence. Today, we reflect on the innocent lives that were taken, the hostages still in captivity, and the effect those losses continue to have on many of us who are here, people in New York, and people worldwide. The attack of October 7th was not only an assault on individuals, but an assault on the fundamental principles of peace, security, and human dignity. As members of a law school community, we are called not only to memorialize these tragedies, but also to ask ourselves what role we can play in building a world, in creating a world where this kind of violence is no longer known. In the face of those atrocities, we advocate for policies that promote peace and security. We all understand the paramount concepts of justice, fairness, and the power of law to shape society, and I will add to those values and those concepts, Eli, the one that you put out on community. These are not just ideals of the mind, but concepts that live in our hearts. And it's during these moments that we are reminded of the vital importance of advocating for a world where peace is not just an ideal, but a reality, a world in which human rights are protected, and a world in which justice prevails over violence. And this is all also very deeply personal. Incidents like the attack of October 7th have far-reaching consequences that touch people's lives in very real and painful ways. As we reflect on the tragic loss of life from a year ago and the ongoing and continuing repercussions, we also reaffirm our commitment as lawyers and as future lawyers to finding ways to promote a more peaceful and just society. Let us carry forward the memory of those lost not only in our hearts, but in our minds and also in our actions as law students, as future advocates, as leaders, and as people committed to making a difference. Thank you again for the opportunity to spend some time with you. I'm going to turn things back over to Eli. I do apologize, I may have to leave before the conclusion of the event. I have little ones at home and we're a little shorthanded tonight. So without anything more, Eli, back to you. Thank you so much.
Team Landau, thank you so much for being here tonight and for standing together with us to show support. I'd like to call up Rabbi Zevi Kugel, Director of Chabad at Fordham, to say a few words.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Dean. Thank you, and Eli, thank you, and the JLSA family for putting this event together. It's beautiful. In Jewish tradition, we mark special days according to the Jewish calendar. And this event, October 7th, took place last year on Simchat Torah, which means the day we rejoice with the Torah. And it is one of the most joyous days in the Jewish calendar. It's the only holiday that has the word Simcha in it, in its title. Yet, by divine providence, the date October 7th is seared into the world's consciousness. And this year, October 7th falls out in one of the more solemn times of the Jewish calendar between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, which I think encapsulates very pointedly and very precisely the Jewish state of being, one that is full of contradictions. On the one hand, we feel unspeakable pain, and at the same time, we have this unbounded hope. We feel like screaming, yet there are no words. There are no words. We feel an intense loneliness in this world, but at the same time, there's, as Eli mentioned, an unparalleled unity amongst the Jewish people and the friends of the Jewish people. This is especially true on campus, unfortunately. We all see the news. This is not the battle taking place far away. Ideologically and emotionally, it's taking place right here. Yet, although we're not blind to the darkness, we still pursue light. And the Jewish people, as we know, are no strangers to tragedies. Our history is full of them. And although sometimes we have no answers, but we know what the response should be. I want to share with you a story. This took place in April 11th in 1956 in the nascent state of Israel, in the town of Kfar Chabad. It's a little village outside of Tel Aviv, stone's throw away from Ben Gurion Airport. 7 years after this little town was constructed by refugees from the war and from Stalinist Russia, terrorists broke into a school and murdered 5 children and 1 teacher, plus another 10 were injured. This was an indescribable blow to the Jewish people. Being that they were followers of the Chabad Hasidic movement, so they reached out to the Rebbe, the Lubavitcher Rebbe in New York, with a telegram, asking basically what to do. The answer took a few days, but the answer was 3 words. In Hebrew, the words are, Behemshech habinyin tinachamu, which means, in the continued building, you will find comfort. We don't always have answers, and especially at the events of October 7th, we're full of questions, but we know what our response should be. We need to build, we have to spread light, we have to spread joy, we have to spread happiness and kindness throughout the world. In your, we left on every seat, so inside the program, there's a picture of many of the hostages that are still in captivity in the dungeons of Gaza, and they're always in our hearts and minds, and it's incredible to think that it's been a year and they're still there. So on the theme of we know what our response should be. On the back of each card, there are a list of suggestions. Many of them are traditional Jewish activities like Shabbat candles or putting on tefillin. There's also the universal good things, a mitzvah, doing a good deed, reaching out, providing support financially, emotionally, and other ways as well. So I encourage everyone to take that paper, take a look at the Hashas, the brief story, and maybe consider one of those mitzvahs. My wife and I, Chanas, here, are always happy to assist in that. And I want to wish everyone a happy and healthy, sweet new year, and we should gather only for happy occasions and peace and security throughout the world. Thank you.
Rabbi Kugel, thank you for your words, and thank you for helping us make tonight possible. Now, I'd like to call up Sarah Snow, our Jewish Advocacy Chair, and Tomer Meir, our speaker for tonight, to begin their discussion.
קודם כל, תודה רבה שבאת להיות איתנו כאן היום. First of all, thank you so much for being with us here today. I think we'll get started by hearing a little bit about you, where you grew up in Israel, how old are you, what was your life like before October 7th?
How it works. I will start and say, first of all, thank you for coming today. Very special day to gather together as Jews, as human beings that care about what happened last year. So thank you for coming here today. I really appreciate that. My name is Tomer Meir. I'm 21 years old from Givatayim. In Israel, I live 7 minutes from the beach, and Givatayim is a small city right near Tel Aviv, so kind of like New Jersey, New York, but closer. I finished my service in the paratroopers this January. After Nova, I couldn't come back. Yeah.
Before October 7th, what were your plans for the future?
Wow, it's crazy to talk about that, but in Israel, the culture, I think after the army, right after that, you're saving some money and flying to your trip after the army, South America and Thailand and whatever. So I was planning to travel with my friends in India to do some good hikings, and then South America. I'm playing fuchi volley, so there's a huge camp for fuchi volley in Brazil. Huge coach that I met in Israel, and he trained me in Israel, and then invited me to do his training camp on Brazil. So that was the plan. Yeah.
What about plans for university?
It's after that. It's
Okay.
like when you're 23, 24,
okay, yeah. Take
no
your
rush
time.
in Israel about that.
Okay, so let's talk now about the Nova Festival. Can you explain what the Nova Festival is and why you wanted to go?
Yeah, so if I need to compare the Nova Festival to festival in the United States, I will compare that to Coachella, I think, or Burning Man. I'm a huge music lover, and my friends are also huge music lovers. They're producing music, and I'm always the guy who's giving them the best advice about what they should change or not. They're bringing me to the studios with them and everything. And 2 weeks before October 7, we understood that we're all going to be on vacation on that time. And it's crazy because 14 friends, 10 of us combat soldiers, we didn't have the opportunity to go together to a music festival or to really spend time, this group of friends together. But when we understood that we all have the permission to be on vacation on that time, we looked for the first music festival that we found, and the Nova was a huge thing that everyone heard about. So we immediately bought tickets for, and yeah, we decided to go there. We heard the beautiful things about the community of Nova and festival, that you have a sleepover and you need to bring everything with you. Means that they're offering food and everything, but you still want to bring your own food. And it was Friday night, so we brought all the Shabbat dinner there, like challah and schnitzel and hummus and vodka, and it's a terrible mix, and and yeah, everything that you can bring to a music festival and to camping with your friends, great mix. Yeah.
So you get there. What's the vibe like initially?
So I remember that because it was our first biggest music festival, we were the first to be there. It was like 11:30 p.m. and we were the first. And I remember when the girl she was the selector, now I know her name. Her name is Shani Gabai, if you heard that name. She helped us to get inside because we were too younger. It was for 21 and we were 20, so she helped us. And I remember that I was looking for her after the festival because she did a huge favor for us, and she took such a big risk to just help two people, and she was missing. And a few months after that, we heard that when they took DNA from the cars, they found Shani. So it's very. I'm always thinking about that, and it's crazy.
So at what point did you realize something was wrong, and what starts going through your head at that point?
Yeah, so at 6:29 the music stopped. I thought it's a problem with the electricity or, never rockets, but we saw so many people pointing to there, and we saw the rockets starting to come to our direction. The amount of rockets that we saw was insane because you're in the border of Gaza, you're in a huge open field, you're watching how Gaza is shooting your country, and you can really see the amount of rockets. The explosions that we had. I did my last active duty in the army at Lebanon. They were huge troublemakers, and they gave me a great time there, but I never heard that explosions. And I remember I was like, wow, we killed someone very big if they're doing that. And I was also thinking that I'm in a huge field right now, and Iron Dome, I don't know if you know, but Iron Dome, first of all, will eliminate rockets that go into cities and kibbutzim. Means that I'm on an open field, most of the chances that they will not eliminate the rockets that coming to my direction. So I knew that I have to get away from the area. I went back to the camping area where all my friends were, and I collected the friends that came with me in my car. One of them is Ben, he's my best friend from the army. We started the service together, connected from the first moment in the first room. We were both shaved without hair, and crazy moment that we shared together and made us to be the best friend, and he's still my best friend. We went to the car, and I feel that it was something that was very important to me that Ben was with me there, because I have someone that I trust. I'm driving a car right now. I'm taking that responsibility, and I need someone to be on my back to make sure that everything is okay. There's a huge chaos, and I need to get out of the parking area. It's 3,000 festival goers that are trying to get out of a festival area. Most of them are not focused, and I needed to get out safely, and there's rockets that falling very near. So I told them that I want them to make sure with me that there's nothing that's going to hurt us, or just open your WhatsApp. We have a lot of groups, like WhatsApp groups, that can tell what's going on, and like army WhatsApp groups. And when you opened that, we saw crazy alerts, crazy reports of people that's sending pictures and weird videos, and someone texted in that group, there's terrorists in Israel, there's terrorists in Nir Oz, and I was like, okay, maybe there is, but the IDF is, we'll take care of that, no worries. But I was still thinking, okay, maybe it's not smart to just stay in the traffic. Like, I know that maybe the police don't know that. I wasn't seeing in that time any IDF vehicle. So I was like, okay, let's find some police officer. Let's go. We saw the police barricade forward. So I was like, let's go there. and check if they know that news, that reports, if it's true, if it's not true. You want to make sure that you're okay, that people will be okay. And on my way there, we started to hear the gunfire, the AK-47, and I was still in my head, okay, it's from the border. It will, everything is okay. It was very early also, and everyone was not all the music, the festival goers that were listening to the same sounds, they were like, okay, it's from the border, it's okay. The IDF is fighting. And I was like, maybe it's okay, but I don't think we should stay in the car. The car, it's the worst place to be when they're shooting with AK-47. They will, it can hurt you. Maybe they're not shooting to your direction, but maybe your car will get the fire, and then one of the windows will break and it will hurt. You don't want to be there. So I told my friends that I'm going to leave my car on the side of the road on my way to the police barricade. And we found a pipe tunnel under the road. It's for transporting water when there's a rain, and it's lower than the ground. So I thought it will be a good place to hide. And more people joined us. We brought more people. We're trying to understand more what's going on. And it wasn't easy because there's a huge chaos. Everyone is screaming, trying to understand. There's terrorists, there's no terrorists. I'm getting, everyone is getting that messages that there's something big, and they want to run away, but they can't because we're telling them that, don't get, it was the safest place in that huge open field in that time. And yeah, we started to get heavy fire to the tunnel. It was tough, and everyone were just jumping and running to all the directions, like ducks in a shoot range. It was a very tough moment, and in my head I was like, okay, I know where's the police barricade. I'm going to run there and I'm going to bring the police. I will tell them that I have terrorists there. They will come with me and we'll finish that situation and we'll help that people. But on my way there, I saw a police officer, and Ben had the same idea. He was also on the way to the same police officer, and the two other friends were still hiding, or I don't know, they were far from us. And we came to the police officer, and it was in Hebrew. So we're screaming in Hebrew. It sounds different. But I just said to him, hey, you're putting the barricade in the wrong place. The terrorists are there. And he was not listening to me and to Ben. He was very distracted, and we tried again. And he was like, listen, you need to run away from here. I don't know if you're paying attention, but there's terrorists there. You see the pickup trucks, that's terrorists. They're we're trying to create, to block that, get away, and we're seeing them away, and then they stopped the car, and we got messy fire to the area that we were. Huge ambush with snipers and everything, and we were with few police officers with pistols that can't do something with that. It's too far. And they trying to figure out a way to go there. And I remember a guy that served in Duvdevan, and he's just a festival goer with a weapon, trying to help the police and tell them where they need to stand and what they can do and how they can get themselves to a better position to fight the terrorists face to face, because with the pistols you can't fight terrorists from that range. Everyone went to the field. A lot of people got shot there on the way to the field and on the road, and you're seeing people in a very bad physically shape all around the road. When we're running to the field, it's a huge open field, nothing to hide behind, and people just running, 400 people running together to the same direction, and they're just shooting them because it's easy. I was running with Ben, and we ran very fast, and we saw a guy that is inside of a Jeep with his friends, and they're taking people to a better position in the field, because from that spot in the field, a lot of people getting shot, so we tried to help them. And it's a field, so we was with his Jeep, getting forward. We jumped on the back of the Jeep, and we got to a better spot in the Jeep, but then we got fire from other direction, and we needed to lie down and to plan ourselves again, with understanding that we're surrounded by terrorists from all over, and the IDF is not going to come. And what should we do? We're soldiers. they will know that. We look very young. Like I had the on my head, like always, like I don't want to get kidnapped. It's the worst case. I told that to Ben. Ben agreed with me, and we were thinking what to do. But we were lying there behind a bush, like not covering from nothing. And if the bush is here, and Ben and I are here, the terrorists are all around. So it's helping us only from one direction. And when we were there, we're trying to figure out what to do. A lot of thoughts in this time. You saw a lot. You're processing kind of what you're seeing, and you don't believe that you're like 20 years old, and that's the situation that you're in right now. Like you went to a music festival and you found yourself in the worst war zone that you could ever imagine. And after like a few minutes, a guy that tried to also escape from the field with his own car saw us lying there, and he was like, "What the hell are you doing? Like, come to the car. It's the worst place. I can, like, come with me." We just try to find direction with his jeep to get outside of the field, and every time the field was blocked and impossible to go through with his car, or that there's just massive fire and you hear the screams of people, so you're trying to get back. And the driving in the field is very tough. You're seeing a lot, and you want it to end. In that point, we started to hear screams with like Hebrew, but the heavy Arab accent. They're screaming that they're here to help. They screaming that they know a way to get out of the field, and their Hebrew is so broken you don't believe that it's Israelis. But the driver decided against to what I said and against what Ben said to go there, and we saw a car full of Bedouin. Bedouin, it's Israeli Arabs. They're shepherds, most of them, and they know the fields better than the police, better than the IDF, better than everyone. They're living there, and they said we have a way, a direction that we know that we can run away from. Collected more people, more cars, and we all followed them. They led us to the way out of the field from a place that the terrorists didn't found in that time, in the morning. And we drove all the way back to Tel Aviv. And yeah, that's...
So while this is all going on, you're hearing screams around you. Are you seeing terrorists as well? Like, do you see them with your own eyes, with the guns?
Yeah.
And you're seeing them just murder people all around you. And what's going through your head? Do you want to contact your family? Like, what are you thinking? Are you just trying to focus on getting out? What's happening?
In my point in that time, they were just shooting all over and trying to kill much as they can. It was very early in the morning. It wasn't the time that they did all the craziest things, and you're also running for your life. For me, I was struggling between trying to help people, but it's so, like, there's no chance to help, so you're just trying to help the people that you can help. I was thinking a lot about, like, how it happens to me, and I'm without weapon right now. Like I'm preparing for that 2 years, more than 2 years, and finally when I'm in the situation that I'm ready to help and I'm ready to be there for others, I'm not. I'm running for my life. I had a lot of hard time with that also after that.
Yeah, and I think it's unique to Israel that when tragedy strikes, everyone rushes to help each other, and this is a situation where people really could not help each other. There was very little that they could do to help one another. Everyone just needed to get out. But
I agree, but still in that time, and I think that's the beautiful of Israel, everyone helped each other. I will not talk about myself, I don't like that, but I will tell about things that I saw around me, that people did beautiful things, and Ben, my friend, did beautiful things. Yesterday I was speaking in other event, and the cousin of Omer Shem Tov, the hostage, came to speak, and she told how Omer Shem Tov kidnapped with Maya and Itai Regev. They released, and they're telling about how Omer made it to a safe place and came back to bring Maya and Itai. And you're listening to her story, and she's telling that random guy just saw him and joined him to help save more people. So I think that in this moment we saw more how much people are there to to help others and not only to run for their own life.
What happened to the other friends that came with you to the festival?
So we're very lucky, and all the 14 survived. It's a crazy story, and I just got picture of the car of my friends that got ambushed on the same place. They just found it right now, today. They got it from the police, and you're seeing the shape of the car and the motorcycle of the terrorists next to them, and you don't believe that your friends are there, and they survived. Other friends survived with other different stories. My friend got shot in his leg and made it like 6 hours on the field, bleeding, almost died, and he made it. Running right now, doing everything. Other friends were hiding in the field for a long time, and they saved by Rami Davidian, a guy who saved so many people in that day, and they came to honor him yesterday on event. So it's very beautiful for me to see it. All my friends are also trying to heal themselves and doing a lot for that.
Can you tell us a little bit about the immediate aftermath? So you get back to Tel Aviv. What's happening? What's the rest of that day look like for you?
So I think that where the craziest part started, because the adrenaline got down, and then you're trying to understand where is all your friends. I made it home very fast in the noon, and I have a lot of friends that serving in the bases of Otef Aza, the border, and friends that I know that jumped there. They were the first forces to get there. And I'm starting to get, in that time in Israel, we got nobody, it was such a huge chaos, so them, like Magen David Adom, they just posted lists of names, and you're going through that names to find the friends. And there I got a message about Afik, a very good friend of mine from the army. We did the combat medic course together in the army, and he was a very close and special friend. He died as a hero, and he saved a lot of people on Kfar Aza. And they found him die when he's taking care of his commander. Yeah.
Were you able to go to sleep that night, or was this a day that lasted multiple days?
No, I had no time to sleep for like 3 days. I was waiting to get more lists to understand who else we lost, and the amount of friends from that day is something like, only from October 7, that day, something like, say, 8 friends, 12 or 15 people that I know. It was tough. You need to choose which grave are you going to visit, and it's not easy.
Can you talk about the week after? What did that look like? How did you feel mentally, emotionally?
So the day after, you were talking about the fact that everyone is, after events like that, is coming together and helping to each other. So the day after, volunteers in Israel opened places that called the healing places for Nova survivors. The idea of the places was just to create space to gather Nova survivors together, that they will get their treatments, and it was like a day camp. You're going there from the morning to the evening, something that you're very protected from the world outside, and you can speak only to people that are psychologists or therapists, and it was very, very, very smart to do it. And I wasn't really into go to that places. I want to be only on my bed and not talk to anyone. I was very depressed, and so many friends that died, and you hear the stories and you have the picture on your head because you just saw it. But my mother, she's Morocco, and you can't say no to your Morocco mom. So I went there every day.
And how do you feel like you are today? Do you feel you've been able to process it? What's it been like for you to be around other Nova survivors?
So in the beginning, I was very curious to see how each of the survivors took that experience and what he did with himself. So it really helped me to help others. I think today I know more than like 1,000 stories from October 7, and I know in person more than 500 survivors of October 7. I met so many different stories from Yuli that she's very close with me, and she lost her boyfriend while he was running away from the bomb shelter that they were hiding on to take the attention of the terrorists, and he knew that he's going to die, but he saved her. To Shoval, that she lost her boyfriend when he gave her a place on the car that rescued them. To so many survivors with so many different stories. My best friend that we grew up together, Itai, was fighting in Be'eri, and as a paratrooper, rescued so many families and other friends that we thought that died on October 7, and then on the night of October 7, after we were looking for him for such a long time, we're seeing video in the news that the soldiers are rescuing families from Kisufim, and we're seeing my friend rescuing families. So that's, I feel like my communication with survivors after that was very good. It really helped me to help others. Yeah.
So you're here today, and you've been speaking elsewhere. Can you tell us about that work that you're doing and why it is that you've come to the U.S.?
So one of the beautiful things, I think the most beautiful thing that happened to me on that healing place is that an amazing guy, his name is Yaniv, came to one of the healing places. He came from America to just be there and to listen to stories, to send some powers from here to Israel to show survivors that all around the world people are thinking about them. I didn't know that there's so many Jews in New York, and when he came, it was like, wow, they know about that, like they heard about that, that's crazy. And he really showed us, like, it's not that you only know about that, that it's all the Jews around the world right now really living through that and trying to do much as they can to help Israel. And we became very close. After that, he got back to Israel on a mission that he brought an amazing people. They went to all the sites in the south, and there he was telling them, like, I know it's not the sites, and it's not that, like, it's not like to meet a family of hostages, but the survivors, they're going every day to these healing places. I think we should go there, and they came. I met a guy, his name is Scott. He came to Israel, and I think that when he came to the music festival, to the healing place, sorry, to hear and to meet survivors that are 20 years old, and he's also a huge music producer that all his life was about to produce music and produce festivals, and he was very involved in the festival that happened in Manchester, Ariana Grande festival, that they also had a terror attack there, and the whole industry stood up and helped and did so many programs, and all the world was speaking about that. And when he came to Nova, he saw that nobody was speaking about that. The whole industry stood up, and nobody came to help us from outside. None of the big artists in the world say something about Nova. It's music again. And he asked me and my friend, he connected us very strong, and he asked us what can he do for us. The day after that, he joined us for the Nova exhibit in Tel Aviv. And he told me, Tomer, listen carefully to what I'm going to say to Ophir. Ophir is the founder of Nova. And he told them, I want to bring this exhibit to the United States. And in April, he called me. He asked if I have plans for April. I said, of course, it's right now. And he was like, okay, cancel it. I need you to do something for me. And he brought me here to New York to speak at the Nova exhibit that they opened. And I came for the opening night to share a few words about how it started and how just to be grateful. And I decided that from all the people that I met and the students from NYU and Columbia and all the amazing Jews that I met through the exhibit, I decided every time that I want to extend my flight and stay more and more. And I felt like I really found something that felt for me like a service, like I'm helping and I'm doing something that it's bigger than me. And I was there every day. After that, I decided that I want to do more for that, but I want to also do something for myself. So another amazing people that got very close with me helped me to get into YU and to start studying and to do something normal. That I think there is no surprises like that after crazy 3 years. Yeah.
So what can we do to support Israeli students on a college campus? We've seen a lot of anti-Israel protests around the country, which are very discouraging. What can we do to kind of combat that, to show Israelis that we are 100% behind them?
Yeah, so it's an interesting question, and I feel like I got the answer when I walked into the room, because this guy, or Avinatan, is the guy from the video. They kidnapped him and they kidnapped Noah. And last weekend, I had the opportunity to, this guy Scott called me and he was saying to me that there's the Global Citizen Festival in the Central Park, and they want to acknowledge Nova. So if I can gather some Nova survivors that are in New York right now, bless you. And bring them to the Global Citizen Festival. And we had the honor to bring Noah with us, Noah Argamani, and the hostage that released. And you know, after like almost a year, I'm going to a music festival with so many amazing people that I met, and my amazing girlfriend that got into my life also after that. And there's very special people this night in this room. And we went to this festival with Noah Argamani. After the first thing that I saw when I came back home on October 7 is the video of Noah getting kidnapped, and we're going everyone to the festival with a huge smile on our face, and we're dancing, and Noah is meeting with Post Malone and Ed Sheeran, and she's having the best time, and she's speaking to them, and it's very important, and she's sharing a story, and the cousin of Omer Shem Tov, the hostage, is also there and speaking to everyone. And it was just beautiful. And it's not, I feel like it's that kind of like example to something very big that just happened somehow. And I feel that the answer for that question is just to try to do your best. I don't like to feel like I'm educating people. I'm just trying to talk about what I'm trying to do, and sometimes it's working, and last weekend it worked out. Just trying to do our best. There's so many people that died on October 7 with so many different and incredible stories of heroism, and they did such a crazy things, kids in my age that sacrificed their life for others with the idea of the country for Jews, and to help families that it's not even their families, and they went there to the war zone to help people. And today it's so easy to learn more about people because there's Instagram, and all these heroes are in Instagram. It still existed, and there's so many pages and places that you can find more information about who they were, like my friend Afik, and I think it's a good start.
Amazing. Hamon toda. Many thanks that you came to be here with us. Haya kavod gadol. It's a very great honor. And it's really meaningful to our community that you were able to share your story.
Thank you.
Thank you so much to both of you. That was really meaningful. At times when there are no words, the Jewish people turn to prayer. So I'd like to call up Zach Schulman, the Vice President of JLSA, to read the prayer for the deceased.
O God, full of compassion, who dwells on high, grant true rest upon the wings of the Shekhinah. In the exalted spheres of the holy and pure, who shine as the resplendence of the firmament to the souls of the holy ones who were murdered and who sacrificed their lives in the consecration of your name. Send them on to their supernal world in the merit of our remembrance. May their place of rest be in Gan Eden. May the All-Merciful One shelter them with the cover of his wings forever, and bind their soul in the bond of life. The Lord is their heritage. May they rest in their resting place in peace, and let us say, Amen.
Thank you one final time to all of you for being here. I hope you found it as meaningful as I did. And now please enjoy the community, enjoy the catering, and get home safe.